Have a good day, students. Welcome to my presentation of Organization Control under the course MT 6255 Introduction to Leadership and Quality, lectured by Dr. Mohammed Shu from National American University in Austin, Texas. First of all, I would like to present a little bit about myself as the presenter for this project before going further with the show. My name is Nguyen. I graduated from Vietnam Commercial University in 2002 with a majority of hotel and tourism management. I completed my Associates of Business Advanced with Auckland University in New Zealand 1 year later. After that, I was sent to London, UK for higher qualification which related to the Foundation for MBA. In 2005, I got my Master Business Strategy from the London University. I actually had over 11 years working experiences as manager vice director in allied tourism and transportation industry before joining NAU. We shall start the show now with the objectives to learn from organization control. First of all, we would expect for a clear definition of what organization control stands for and the purposes for such control to be adapted in business context. Follow up by some functions of controlling in organization. We will have a small discussion about open book management as one of the most commonly used control tools in nowadays business. Lastly, we will look and see how financial and budgetary control appear in open book management at one of the sample we picked to study today. So what organization control is all about? There have been several excellent approaches to its definition. One of them was given by Kuratko, Island, and Osby. In the article of Improving Firm Performance Through Contractor Actions, the author argued that organization control actually relates to the process through which an organization monitors and affects its subunits and human assets to gain more successes, such as to reach a specific business target or to obtain one particular project goal, probably just lifting up to higher standard of work performance if the current one is inadequate. Question arose concerning why controlling is such crucial for organization. History of control technique uses proved that control gain higher successes in most of the business fields because it simply reduces production cost. The firm with appropriate tactics of control identify a clear thumbnail of the financial situation by which the managing director might have a better budget plan for the production cost. The sufficient controlling system simply doesn't cut cost for profit. It actually minimizes the unwanted cost to be incurred while maintaining the standard quality of both product and services, such as fewer defects, less production bugs, produce more comeback customers, or less returns. Moreover, effective controlling techniques helps manage identify and isolate the source of positive surprises such as new ground market. On the other hand, organization control keeps the organization focused on its strategy and help managers anticipate and respond to both positive and negative surprises. An ideal control system allows the organization to be more responsive by affording the decision-making possibilities to those closest to the customer and areas of uncertainty. Let's move to next part talking about the function of the organization control and some particular steps for it to be presented in business. The process is quite simple as illustrated here. First of all, firm must confidently establish its new and desired standards or values. The second step, the company must scale its current performance in a measurable data set or information. After that, the control manager or directors should have a comparison between these two, the standards and the performance, the actual performances, to see the balance, how balanced the value is between reality and plan. The last but not least step is to take the needed action, as to maintain the current performance status without taking any kind of actions or to correct the deviation if happens. Some firms actually might choose to heighten the first approach standard for further study. Control models have long been studied and applied in business. Some of the most common applications can be named as below. The balanced scorecard was designed by Kaplan Robert and his co-worker in 1996 to emphasize that model connects to a strategic planning tool which infuses strategic non-financial performance skills into traditional financial dimensions in order to balance the actual firm performance assessments. Jack presented his theory of open book management in 1992, describing the system as an illustration of a company's current financial situation, with individual contribution to the whole scenes and possible rewards given to such individual. Karu Ishikawa was actually not really the founder for the Total Quality Management (TQM) concept. However, he was one of the economists who really contributed and developed the model to a higher standard, which is now being widely used in modern business situations. Ishikawa came up with an argument that represented TQM as organization attempt to inspire continuous quality upturns. Uh, with the final goal for this model is to have a zero imperfection. Beside above three systems, there were different approaches relating to managerial control, such as budgetary control and financial control. However, I decided to select open book management controlling system as a focal study for this presentation just because it's all about the sharing characteristic and people love sharing. Do you agree with this? Let's move to the next slide to see what open book is all about for sharing. As can be seen, open book management with is open, as the very first word in the sentence describe the sharing culture in terms of the below 8S. The first S is about the sharing the feeling like honor, or the second one is about the sharing the actual account internal and external numbers, about sharing the contribution rights and benefits. The fourth one is about sharing trust and confidences. The fifth one is about sharing one same goal. The sixth one is about the sharing decision making and forecast planning possibilities. Coming up is the sharing the win-win culture between employees and employers. The last one is about sharing the needed knowledge to understand all the numbers. Implementing open book management into day-to-day business comprise of the big O is for opportunity for all levels to learn and manage the data in number. The B is for benchmark individual firm successes and shortcomings. The giant M stands for making the data information available and visible to see and understand. Similar to other systems, OBM has its good and bad sides for to study or to consider whether it is suitable for a particular situation or is it usable for a specific organization. Greg, an award-winning freelance writer and editor who has covered business for the Wall Street Journal, mentioned in his OBM analysis, which were conducted in 2017, that open book management produced more brainstorm, out-of-the-box ideas and higher production as everybody at any level from any division have the same feeling as the business owners. The, the employees therefore see no relationship and responsibility barriers between them and the actual owner of the business. They accordingly complain fewer and tend to work and manage their day-to-day tasks without a need of actual manager manager monitoring and pushing. Said another economist on his article of We Spend What on Paper Clips in 2014. The author argued that managers must be aware of the cons of the OBM before applying such tool into business. Said belief OBM is too transparent for anticipatedly implicit comparison between workers, and the threat of negative latent competition must be taken into account for manager consideration before applying OBM. The author also extended the probability for a loss of teamwork since most people under the OBM behave selfishly for their own benefits and goals. As workers are continuously updated about the firm's financial situation in numbers, uh, you know, as a result, their demands might dramatically increase, and this upset the firm managers and owner in several circumstances. Another bad thighs for the OBM is about its number and information, which seems to be overloaded and time consumption. Overall, open book management is seen one of the most favorite control tools in nowadays business. Let's see next pages to understand how financial and budgetary control react in this system. In prior to the discussion, open book management once again deals with number, which might be probably sold on financial analysis or budgetary planning. Financial control therefore behaves similarly to what it seems to do in other systems, as it's come up with ratio and statistics to review firms with individual contributions, sales revenues, expenses, profit, assets, inventory, liquidity, power, and so on. The financial statement, normally known as balances and income statement, is adapted to see the current accounting situation of the company. The income statement uh, is used to draw a picture of profit and loss within a period of time. The financial analysis final outcome is to set target for firm expenses with a base on the redundant profit or an acceptable percentage of capital that might be considered to spend for the good of an organization. Budget therefore rooms around assets, raw material, operation cost, uh, salaries, and sale commissions to keep the organization and each worker going forward. However, it strongly depends on the company policy and absolutely the actual outlook of the open book management picture. Budgets are normally divided into smaller parts, which will be applied to all subunits of the firm despite of the size and function. To conclude this presentation, I would like to mention an example of a company who successfully applied OBM into day-to-day business. The architecture picture was the OBM annually report of the National Flag Allies of Vietnam, Vietnam Allies. Since there were too much data written in Vietnamese, I could not translate all of them into English for a clearer view. However, we own the source numbers and data. We could understand these reports as a picture of how well Vietnam Allies managed its flight routes in terms of fixed, variable costs and profits, as well as revenue, gross, net margin, per flight, per route, per region, with contribution breakdown to the whole picture. Uh, these are all the scholar resources I use to build this presentation. All of them are precious and valuable for further study and research. I would recommend you all to spend some time for another reading, as it should be helpful for your upcoming assignment and works. This is the end of the show. Thank you for your time and attention, and I do hope you all have been enjoying my presentation. Have a great time. Thank you.